Hi, angels. This is Finding My Voice with Wings and Roots. This is a blackout channeling. A little housekeeping, real quick, before the message. My readings are for entertainment purposes only. I am not a doctor, nor do I give any medical advice. If something comes up during the channeling, please follow your own intuition and do your own research. I'm only passing on what I pick up. Like any readings from anyone, only take what resonates and makes sense for you. I do share personal examples. Sometimes I cry and sometimes I cuss. If I say God, Spirit, or the universe, apply it how it fits for you. My language use may not be the same as yours, and that's okay. I will never reach out to anyone to give any kind of readings, so please be aware of any spammers. I believe in vulnerability and rawness, and I tend to embrace them, especially during my channeling. If you do feel called to, please like and subscribe so these messages can get to who needs them. And also, please remember to be kind in the comments. This is a safe space, and you're welcome to show others love and support as well. Thanks for being here. For a few nights now, in my dream space, I've been getting this theme that comes up about distractions. And it's not just about having a lot going on and getting distracted, like ADHD type distractions, like squirrel, whatever. This is more of a distraction in a way that's almost being sent in to try to keep you off your current path, and that there might be people from your past just randomly popping up that are literally sent in to distract you. And this could be all kinds of different ways. It could be someone to distract you by pulling your energy down, by causing conflict, by manipulating, or playing nice to your face and acting like, because the girl that came up in the dream, she came up to me, and it was someone that I've known for a long time. And she came up and she sat next to me, and she was like, "Hey girl," like nothing was ever wrong. Like, she was never shady. And it was just one of those situations where in the dream itself I was calm, and I wasn't going to get riled up. I wasn't going to, because I'm someone that can call people out sometimes. And I think that, especially the older me, I would say things that I needed to say. And lately, I've gotten to a point where I just don't see a need to get out of my seat like that, And it takes a lot for me to even think about doing that nowadays, because it's just not worth the energy. And that's just not where I'm at in my life. I leave people where they're at, if that's the position that they're in their life and what they want around them. But I don't need that around me. And so I'm very discerning about who's around and involved in my life, who knows what's going on in my life. And I just do not really talk to people that want to pull me back to the old me. And so it was kind of like this idea, or this feeling, that these distractions were being sent in to remove me from this way of being that I've worked so hard to be in, this peace that I've earned, and I've worked really, really, really hard to have in my life. I've created this peace in my life. It's not like I just got it. It didn't just happen. I worked really, really, really hard on myself, on discernment, on forgiving, on walking away from situations. I've done a lot to create this peace in my life. And it's like there are people that can't stand that because maybe they're miserable in their own life, or I don't know. I do feel like some people think, like, how dare you not talk to me anymore? How dare you move on away from me? And I feel like this isn't just a message from my own personal life. I feel like there are other people that need to hear this, and maybe some people that need to be aware that this is going on so that they can be prepared for when it does happen, or if someone does pop back up from the past, that they're like, oh, okay, yeah, Spirit gave me a heads up on this so I don't fall into this. Because, sometimes when you're first transitioning into this path where you don't really want to like pop off on people, you don't want to speak your mind so much, you just want to let things go, and not in a people pleasing way or an unhealthy way where you just like take and take and take and then you explode, you know what I mean? Because that's what usually happens. You take so much and then you explode later on because you don't stick up for yourself. This is more of a situation where it's just not worth your energy. So you just don't put any energy into it, good, bad, anything. You just like, okay, that's not my problem. That's not, no. Like I'm not gonna involve myself in any of this. And when you're first on that, new path, then sometimes people from the past can pop up, and it could be really, really, really challenging to hold your tongue, or not even hold your tongue, because that's not even necessarily what you want to do. You don't want to be, because that's still letting it get to you, But you want to like remind yourself that peaceful state is what you're trying to be in. And when you're in that peaceful state, it's not about holding your tongue. It's about not letting things get to you. It's not letting things go, like in their energy, like the energy that they're putting out. You're not letting it affect you by getting into your bubble, your energy bubble. And it's just kind of like, okay, and you just let it bounce back at them. And then I saw this video earlier, and it kind of goes along with this. And I probably won't get this stuff right, but there's some of the little details right, but I'll sum it up the best that I can. But it was talking about how Buddha was in front of a crowd and talking and all this stuff, and there was a heckler in the back, and he was really angry, and he was shouting all this anger and all these hateful things at Buddha, and Buddha just tuned it out. He just tuned it out. He wasn't letting it affect him. And then after all this time of him doing this to Buddha, the guy came up afterwards and he was like, I have been yelling at you. I have been saying things to you. I have been angry with you. And you are unfazed by it, basically. And so then Buddha says, let me ask you this. And I'm paraphrasing. But if you were to give me a gift and I didn't accept it, whose gift is that? Who does that gift belong to? And he goes, well, it would belong to me. And he said, exactly. Meaning the anger that the guy was trying to put on Buddha, he didn't accept. He didn't allow it into his energy field. He let it be with that person so they can have that energy circulating in their field and hopefully work it out on their own, but he didn't absorb it. And that might be something that you have to keep in mind, especially if you are new on this path, because like I said, it can be really, really hard to know when to tune it out and to know how to tune it out. Another aspect of the dream was that somebody in my soul team had shown up right around the same exact time that this old friend had shown up. And the girl comes up, she sits next to me and on some armrests next to me because it wasn't even a seat for her to sit in, but she like awkwardly positioned herself right next to me. And then this other person came up from my soul team and he sat next to me. And it was kind of like, without even having to say it, his energy was just like this really positive and I don't know the word that I'm looking for, but it was really positive and it was a lot of like empowering energy without having to say anything though. Like it was never a don't let them bug you. You know, don't remember where you're going. Don't let them get to you. It was never anything like that. It was unspoken and it was kind of just like, oh man, I wish I knew how to explain it. It was like their presence alone was enough to help me focus where I needed to be focused. Without anyone having to say anything, I wasn't giving in to the distractions. I wasn't giving in to the attempts. I was just, I saw it and I tuned out of it and I put my focus on what I needed it to be on the positive energy, the good stuff that I'm working towards. And this person's energy, I recognize them, excuse me, but I don't actually know them in person in the physical realm, right? And so that was another message that was showing me, and this person has actually shown up in several of my dreams, and it's always the same kind of thing. It's always when there is an attack or some kind of mischievous or sinister energy trying to come at me, or energies trying to come at me. And it's even shown up when I've had incubus or succubus energies trying to like come at me. And that's, that's a whole other topic. And then this person has shown up and it's brought the same soulful, happy, just very comforting energy that pulls me away from it. And it could be the craziest situations happening all over the place, but their presence, it was almost like we were in a bubble all by ourselves, having the time of our life and nothing was bugging us. And I don't even mean romantically. I just mean you could just tell that was your soul team or a member of your soul team. And so it really was showing me that we have soul teams out here that are actually helping us. And maybe we're helping other people in our soul team, because it's not just a take, it's not just a receive. They're getting it back, in a positive way. They're receiving this also from our souls. And we don't have to know that person in their physical life right now to have that connection. And I think that's actually really beautiful. It actually made me kind of cry a little bit earlier. I felt this need to purge some emotions. But one of the things that I have a hard time with sometimes is I'll feel the tears right there on the brink, but I don't feel like I have a reason to be sad. So it's hard for me to let it out. And I started thinking about this message that I had been channeling, and it's been on and off all day long that I've just been getting this. That's why I'm recording right now. I stopped what I was doing and I was like, okay, I need to record this because this is important for somebody as well as myself. But it's just really, really neat that we're not alone. Even if we feel like it in the physical, we do have our spiritual or our soulful teams out there that can show up so much easier sometimes than in the physical. And that just let me cry a little bit. And I didn't cry very much. I just shed a few tears and then I was okay. But I needed to release them. And that thinking about how beautiful that is helped me release it. Because, tears don't always have to be sad. And if you feel like you need to purge things, sometimes focusing on that gratitude and letting those emotions come out can still benefit you in a purging way. So there's a lot of little messages in this little channeling, but I feel like it's helpful. When I play this back, I might have to redo it because my fan is on in the background, and I don't know if I'll be able to edit it out. But I just needed to record this because I feel like there's a lot of people that are going through a spiritual type of war, and there's a lot of lower energies, some even darker energies, that see people rising up and aligning with their purpose, fulfilling their passions, and, really bringing light to this world that needs it, and raising the frequency and putting love out there. And of course, those lower energies don't want that to happen. So what can they do? If they can't get to you, they'll try to send in distractions to get to you. Another thing that just came through as I was saying that is pay attention to, and this isn't going to be for everyone, but pay attention to how you're eating or drinking for somebody maybe. Because I feel like that's another distraction that's being utilized, is they're sending in ways to block maybe your sacral chakra. I'm seeing like the sacral, the solar plexus, and the root. But yeah, so you might be getting distracted through eating stuff that you haven't been eating, craving things that you haven't craved in a long time, drinking things that you normally don't drink, or drinking in excess more than you normally do, or something along those lines. So just be careful with it. If you notice yourself doing it, just be observant. Oh my gosh, what is wrong with my wording? Observant. Maybe they just don't want me to say it because my throat hurts like really bad. Like I can feel my vocal cords feel like they're being squeezed right now, and it's physically painful for me to talk. And to me, that's a sign that something doesn't want me to say this. So like if you hear my voice get raspy or strained sounding, that's part of the reason why. It's because my vocal cords literally hurt right now, and they weren't all day. Like it just suddenly started when I started recording this. Yeah, so there's a lot of things that are attempting to stop people from their light missions. But you know what the cool thing is? Even with these distractions, it's almost like we can laugh it off to a degree. Not laughing at them in a challenging way, like challenging them, like, oh, that's all you can do. We don't want to challenge. But again, that's also giving them our energy. But it's kind of like, okay, you tried that. And then, like, you acknowledged it, you, like, kind of just giggled about it, and you moved on because it doesn't really faze you. So, like, even with it hurting my vocal cords really bad right now, I'm still recording. Even with other things going on, I'm still here, and I can laugh it off, and I can do what I needed to do. Even with me fumbling over my words, I'm not stopping this and re-recording it, I'm just letting it be. Because this message is important. And if I re-record it, I might lose some pieces that were important, So that's what happens when you're channeling. You get, at least for me, when I start channeling, I might get some little details on what I need to say, but then the rest of it comes out while I'm talking. And that's sometimes I get quiet during my channeling, or I'll be saying something and then I just go real quiet in the middle of saying something, and it throws me off what I was gonna say, but it's because I'm like getting something else. So if you've listened to any of my things, or if you do listen to any future ones and you hear me kind of pause and then get distracted from what I was saying, it's because I'm channeling something else and I'm being quiet. So I'll probably try to edit a lot of the longer pauses out so it's not so awkward for people that are listening. But I don't know. But those distractions aren't the ones that I've been talking about. Those are more like, oh, okay, I have something else I need to share. But yeah, I think there's a lot of people that might be noticing these distractions, but they're not letting them stop you. And that's really awesome, because maybe you recognize that that's all it is, It's just like, okay, yeah, I see you, but I'm not going to pay any mind to you. Nope. I'm not even going to worry about it. And that's, I don't know, it's really good. That's a really cool thing that I'm noticing happening. And once I stop recording, my vocal cords will be fine. It's just interesting how that happens. And I see that with a lot of other videos too. Whenever certain energies don't want them to speak on things, then they'll start like needing a sip of water or coughing or needing to clear their throat. And there's a lot of energy right now that is coming out with things to help people, and there's things that are trying to hold them back. But we just keep going. We keep going with our mission, and we have to persevere, So yeah, be observant to distractions, but keep your focus on your light mission, on your purpose, on your passions, what you're feeling and in your heart space to be doing, and just keep going, keep rising up, I think it's really wonderful that so many people are still moving forward despite everything. And again, I just want to reiterate this one more time, that even if you do feel like you're alone, even if you have a lot of family that loves you and supports you, and you have a whole bunch of friends and all these things, so maybe you'd have people physically around you, but you don't feel like they understand so much your light mission, your passions and where you're going with this. Maybe you're taking a more spiritual path, and everyone around you is more religious, or whatever. They have their own way, and maybe they don't understand you. So in that regard, maybe you feel like you're alone. Maybe you're one of those people that you really don't have anyone in the physical. You don't have family, you don't have a lot of friends or any friends, and you're in the middle of that shift and that transformation where you've walked away from a lot of people that didn't fit where you're going and where you are now, but yet you haven't fully aligned in the physical with your soul tribe and your soul team. So you're in the in-between stage. Sometimes I call that the elevator stage, because you're not where you used to be, but you're not yet where you're going. So it's kind of like that elevator. And that can feel lonely sometimes, or at least in a supportive way. We don't have that support, and we all need that support. That's a very human thing. We need that support. So I think it's important for you to know your soul team is here. even if they're not yet in your life in the physical. They're here, they're surrounding you, they still show up for you, whether you realize it through your dream space or these random feelings that somebody's like there with you, somebody's guiding you, somebody's supporting you, or maybe you just don't even feel it or you're not aware of it all. This message is especially for you if you're not aware of it. You really need to know that your team is here for you. Your team is supporting you and they're rooting for you and they're proud of you, and you are aligning with them. Even if you're not there with them in the physical, they're here. And when I need to repeat things like that, it might sound redundant or maybe annoying to some, I don't know. But there's a reason that I have to repeat it, because somebody needs to hear it more than once. And sometimes that fits for me too. Sometimes these messages, a lot of times, these messages are personal. In fact, I had been guided for a really long time now to start recording my channelings. And I was like, yeah, but these are my situations. Nobody else needs to hear my situations. Who wants to get on these videos or whatever and hear me just talk about my situation? Like, that just sounds so weird to even think about. I'm very private. I don't tell people a lot of stuff anymore. And so it was just weird to me. But then Spirit was showing me there are a lot of people out here that are going through similar type situations, and they need that. They need to hear it, because sometimes that's all they need to know that they're not alone. Or other reasons. Maybe there's other things that they'll pick up from that message. And so a lot of times these channelings that I'm getting that feel very personal to me might be completely different for somebody else that can hear the same exact thing I'm talking about, and it'll fit right for their story. So if I talk about my own situations and it doesn't fit, just apply it how it could to yours, and then leave whatever doesn't, just leave it alone. It's not for you then, and that's okay. I'm trying to see if Spirit has anything else that I need to say. Yeah. You're doing better than you might think sometimes. Remember, on the days when you feel like you're having the hardest time, that's actually when you're being the strongest. I know that sounds kind of silly, but if you're having the hardest time, you're trying your hardest, You're using that strength. You're being your strongest. So if you're somebody that's struggling and you feel like you're not doing as good as you want to do, you're still showing up. Whether that's a little bit or a lot, you're still showing up. So take notice of that. Offer yourself some compassion and just know you're still making progress, okay? You're still making progress. You're still doing what you're supposed to be doing. Don't put so much pressure on yourself. You have people that support you. You have people that love you and are here with you, whether that's in the physical realm or if it's in the spiritual realm. Just know you're not alone. You got this. You're doing awesome. All right. That's it for today, guys. Sending my love to everybody.